very latest on OJ Simpson. He will soon walk free. The parole board in Nevada deciding unanimously to grant him release after 9 years behind bars. You can see there OJ's response, very emotional but thrilled with the outcome, and his family also wiping away tears.
And Amy, as you know, the hearing capturing attention across the country. Millions were watching. Here's what we know this morning. Simpson will now be able to walk free as early as October 1st. He may try to move back to Florida. That's where he was living prior to prison. And ABC's Matt Gupton has been covering the case. He's outside Lovelock Prison in Nevada this morning. Morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, David. After 9 years of waking up at this prison, OJ Simpson facing only 10 more weeks here. No more mopping of the gym floors, no more waiting in line for chow, no more mandatory lights out. And what we seemed to see yesterday was vintage OJ, the flashes of charm, the anger, defiance, but also gratitude.
Mr. Simpson, I do vote to grant parole.
OJ Simpson gushing with gratitude for the words he'd hoped for 9 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. The parole board taking just 30 minutes to reach that unanimous ruling.
My vote is to grant your parole.
Grant parole.
As the 7-year-old hobbled from the hearing room, Simpson was heard exclaiming triumphantly, "Oh God, oh."
It was obviously a very emotional time, and Mr. Simpson, obviously, he was a little bit emotional as well, and even I got a little bit emotional, I have to tell you.
The so-called parole hearing of the century lasted just over an hour. Carried live on the networks, sports channels, and cable news. The tension in the room broken inadvertently early on.
We have that you are currently, well, very recently turned 90 years old. 90, I'm sorry about that. You look great for 90.
But right out of the gate, Simpson seemingly defiant about his conviction in the 2007 armed robbery of his friend and memorabilia collector Bruce Fremont.
So you believe that the property was yours?
It's been ruled legally by the state of California that it was my property, and they've given it to me.
From a flash of anger to a flicker of emotion, OJ wiping his eyes as Fremont, his former victim, pleads for his release.
This is a good man. He made a mistake. And if he called me tomorrow and said, "Bruce, I'm getting out. Will you pick me up?" Juice, I'll be here tomorrow for you. I mean that, buddy.
Leaving the hearing, Simpson thanking the former victim.
Thank you.
Public reaction to his pending release far more muted than in 1995 when he was acquitted for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. This time, people taking to Twitter. The hashtag OJ Simpson parole trending worldwide, many raising an eyebrow about this statement.
I've basically spent a conflict-free life. You know, I'm not a guy that ever got into fights on the street and with the public and everybody.
Simpson may be moving on, but Nicole Brown Simpson's sister, Tanya, who sat in that courtroom in 1995, can't forget.
What would I say to him? You know what, probably nothing. He was part of our family, he was part of our life, and that was shattered on June 12th. Don't forget Nicole and Ron. It's not about Simpson getting out.
Now, it's more than likely that that parole board here in Nevada will allow OJ to move back to Florida where his 2 kids live. Now, the Goldman family has said it will continue to hound OJ Simpson for that $33 million settlement it won against him in 1997 in that civil suit. But the one thing they cannot touch by law is his NFL pension. David.
All right, Matt Gupton in Nevada for us this morning. Matt, thanks so much. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, this morning, because, Dan, you were very honest about O.J. Simpson's performance during this parole hearing. You thought he wasn't very good, and yet it was a unanimous vote. So what happened here?
Yeah, so he basically relitigated the crime again. He didn't express enough remorse. I mean, this was easy, right? All he had to do was go in there, be contrite, say he's sorry, say he's ready to move on, say he's ready to be a productive member of society, and instead he starts going into all the details of why he was wronged in effect and he wasn't that bad. The bottom line, though, is that there is really a form that these parole officers follow. And I'm confident they had made that decision before O.J. Simpson came in. So he really would have had to do something so bad, so out of the ordinary, so unexpected, to change what I think were probably the 4 votes that he had before he even came in.
You heard one of the parole commissioners tell him that he's going to be watched very closely, and even listed some of the things that he'll face in life on parole.
Yeah, there's going to be restrictions on travel, on alcohol, on who he can associate with, on weapons possessions. And this is a different world. This is now a world with smartphones that O.J. Simpson didn't have when he went to prison 9 years ago. So everyone's going to be watching the most famous or infamous parolee in America as he goes around. And remember, that's also going to be relevant with regard to the Goldmans, because they want to know, what's he up to? How is he making any money? Because any money that he earns is supposed to go to paying back that civil judgment.
You bring up that point. He's 70 years old, even though the commissioner had him at 90 in the beginning. What are the chances of him getting a job? What kind of job would you imagine?
I don't think he's going to get a job, because if he gets a job,
he's going to hand it over.
Yeah, his money goes. The only reason he would get a job is if the parole board demands it, because it is one of the possible things that they could require. But I don't know that they're going to require a 70-year-old man to necessarily get a job.
Yeah, but the money he gets from the NFL still, they can't touch.
The pension stuff they can't touch. And remember, he's been accruing that over time while in prison as well.
All right. Dan Abrams with us this morning. Dan, thanks so much.